Good morning, friends, and welcome back. I had a few requests asking me to please do a beginner's video for decoupage on glass. And since most of us have bottles readily available, I thought I would do this on a bottle. And the first thing is you want to make sure you remove your label completely. Really, you just want to soak this bottle for about 15 minutes in the hottest soapy water that you can. Just put some dish detergent in, very hot water, submerge the bottle, and let it soak for about 15 minutes. Then you'll want to scrape off as much of the label, as you can with one of these straight edge razors, and then take a little bit of dish soap, and this is baking soda because I use it to clean all the time. I put it in one of these shakers, and just put some on the bottle. You can use a lot. And a little bit of detergent if you've got any of that residue left over. Then just rinse it thoroughly and let it dry, and you've got a perfectly clean bottle. I've been handling this, so I'm going to use a little alcohol to remove any oils that may be on it. So here's the first step. You want to paint your bottle with a very light color. I'm going to use the white chalk paint, but this is chalk paint, chalky finish for glass. This is a product by Americana. I'll have links to everything below the video. But the reason you want to use this chalky finish for glass is because if you use acrylic paint or regular chalk paint, it can and will very easily chip off. Another reason why you want to use paint at all, if you just put that over your surface, you just wouldn't be able to see it. And with a clear bottle, once you put the decoupage glue on the napkin, it will darken it, and you'll really lose the design so that you won't be able to see your napkin at all. You want to make sure you shake your bottle for about a minute. By the way, this does come in other pretty colors. I will put the links to the other colors down below the video also. And you can already see, look at that nice full coverage. I had a hard time finding these in any of the craft stores, so I was able to find them online, and I'll put the link down below for these nice rounded sponge brushes. So I'm just going to finish covering up this whole bottle, and then I'll come right back. So you do want to let this dry for 4 days. We also need to put this in an oven for just a half an hour, and we'll bake it at 325 degrees. And then we'll let it cool in the oven. Obviously this is a different bottle, but in order to speed up the video, I'm going to work on this bottle and let you know this is a bottle where I used regular chalk paint, and I used a couple of coats. And you can see that the paint has worn away. This has never been used. I don't even know how these chips got on there because this bottle isn't handled. So now what I'll do is I'll still decoupage over top of this just to show you how we do our decoupage over glass. So we've got the bottle painted, it's dry, it's ready to go. We want to take our napkin. Now, I normally tell you to separate the napkin, but the first thing you want to do before you separate it, you may need to cut this because you want the prettiest part of the napkin, or the part that you want, to fit on the bottle. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I have this size, or this piece right here, cut out. And I am going to first take a piece of copy paper. Now, you can use copy paper, and I'm just recycling a piece of copy paper that I don't need. Or you can just get a magazine and just tear a page out of that. The reason for this is because it will make the napkin that much easier to cut. So before the napkin is separated, taking some repositionable glue. It's a little hard to see that there, and you can get this anywhere really. The supermarkets carry it, the drugstores. Just make sure it says repositionable on it. And I'm putting it over the surface. Placing my napkin over it, the section that I would like to cut out. And I'm going to cut a nice even pattern out here. Because the bottle is shaped like this, I am taking a lid, you'd say a decoupage this, it's a large lid, and I'm going to place the lid up around the top and trace that so that I know I can cut this nice and neatly. And I'm going to use large scissors at first because this makes it a lot easier to cut. And I also want to keep these side pieces pretty straight. Now I'm going to take my smaller scissors. And because these scissors have a mildly curved edge here and they're very sharp, I'm going to be able to cut right along the line here. So I now have a nice even surface up there that can go right here on the bottle. And I'll have some excess here, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. We use that repositionable glue for this reason. Now, when you go to separate the napkin, and you want to dampen your fingertips and pull that bottom piece away. One ply of the napkin is gone. This becomes trash. And you can now separate that top layer. And I used the repositionable glue because I found when I used a regular glue stick before, it can go right on through the whole napkin and the whole napkin gets stuck to that piece of paper, so we don't want that. And you carefully peel away that second part. Now you can place this over the bottle wherever you would like it. And you see with that beautiful white paint in the background, it helps this image to pop. You can really see it. And I'm now going to take the other really important element when you're working with napkins, and that's napkin decoupage glue. This is the Deco Art napkin decoupage glue, which I use all the time. And I prefer to use one of these artist's brushes as opposed to a sponge brush. I am going to place this over my bottle, and I want to start in the center. Now, I didn't put any decoupage glue down because this is the way that I've found helps to eliminate most of those wrinkles. I'm going to load the brush with decoupage glue and start right in the center of the bottle and of the napkin and gently work my way out. And you do have to keep going back and loading the brush with decoupage glue. I'm right-handed, I don't know why I put that on my left. And I will continue to go out to my edges. And when you work in a star pattern like this, if there are any wrinkles, it forces them to go out through the sides. And it's very important to make sure you're going in one direction, but you want to make sure those ends are covered. You want to look at this in some bright light too to make sure you haven't missed any spots. And I'm not going to worry about this excess on the bottom right now. Just leave it be. If you try to pull this right now, you do risk tearing the napkin while it's wet. So it's so easy to file this off when you're done. And I'll put this aside to dry. What's next is we want to file off in one direction the excess paper that's down at the bottom. You can use sanding paper here or a sanding block, whatever more convenient for you. And some people have asked me, this section that goes in like this is called the punt, and some people have asked me if I also paint that. I personally like to put, I either glue cork or foam on the bottom of this. Now we want to put our top coat on. The top coat is the varnish. It is what will protect your work, and you want to cover the whole bottle. So I'm going to use this and apply it over the whole bottle. Shake it up, and again I'm going to be using an artist's brush as opposed to a sponge brush. You don't need to do this in this pattern. I'm just in the habit of doing this, so I'm applying it in that same star shape pattern, and I have a heavy hand. You don't have to pour that much over your surface. I just always tend to do that. So I'm going to cover the whole bottle with this. I think I have enough on here for the whole bottle. All right, so this is dry now, but I want to take this a step further. So to add a little bit of charm to this, I am going to outline my image using this trim. And it will make it a lot easier. I'll put the link below down to the best possible glue to use. And I'm going to use a bamboo skewer to apply this glue here. And I will carefully outline my image this way. I'm going to put this aside to dry. This glue takes a little bit of time. By the way, you can place 2 books next to your bottle when you're working on it so that it doesn't roll all over like this. You can cover the books in wax paper so that nothing sticks to them. We can also apply a little bit of trim up here just to decorate it a little more. And here is our finished bottle. Now remember, this doesn't have the correct paint on here, which is why it chipped. The other bottle is drying until next week, but I wanted to show you the nice coverage on that. So one other thing I wanted to mention, someone said in the last video that I should make suggestions for people who don't have access to some of these supplies. Now, I don't know if that means that you're in another country. I will say that the reason that I do not do that is because after about 30 years of doing decoupage and coming across all of the new products and ones that work and ones that don't work, I am very specific in the products that I mention for one reason. I don't want anyone who's brand new to this to use the wrong product and get frustrated and say, this isn't working, this doesn't last, this is causing wrinkles, this is not, look at, like this, this paint is chipping. I don't want anyone to get discouraged. So when I make a beginner's video, I'm even more specific about which products you should use. So that is why I do tell you, here's what we're using and here's what you need to use. I don't want you to get frustrated and stop doing decoupage. This is just a bottle opener I got along the way somewhere. It might have even been a gift, but that's another idea. So that's our video for the week, my friends. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask me. I do have over 300 videos on YouTube, so if you're watching this for the first time and it is weeks, months, or years after I made the video, you may want to go over to Upcycle with Decoupage on Facebook and send me a private message or a public message over there. Don't forget, the links for these products are down below the video, and chances are I already have a video covering what you would like to learn about, but if you would like a beginner's video, I'm happy to do that too. Okay guys, I'll see you next week with another video. Thanks a lot, my friends. Bye-bye.